Hi there, I hope you're ready for some vegan meat in a can. So a while back, I tried UnMeat's vegan Spam and chicken in a can. You can watch that video here. I never know which side it goes on, but my expectations for vegan meat in a can were not that high, but I was pleasantly surprised. So I went on their website and I learned a little bit more about them. They're a Filipino company that has recently started expanding across the globe. And I saw that they had a roast beef that I was interested in trying. Unfortunately, I could not find it at any of my local stores, so I reached out and asked if they'd be willing to send me some, and they kindly did. So today we're going to be trying UnMeat's roast beef style UnMeat, as well as they also sent these plant-based meatballs in spaghetti sauce. We're gonna give them a taste, see if they live up to the Spam and the chicken, and then we're gonna do something a little creative with each of them. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like meat and it's in a can, and most of my experience of meat in a can is like cat food. And so that's what this is reminding me of. But I was also very turned off by their chicken in a can when I first saw it. So we're going to give it a try and see if it in fact tastes a little better than it looks. I'm also putting it out there, they did send this to me for free, but I'm going to give an honest review of it because what's the point in sharing this with y'all if I'm not being honest? Cheers. It has a little bit of a canny flavor to it. A little bit of a metallic something something. The texture is really nice. I like the chew. The sauce is tomato-y and a little bit oniony. It has a bit of an aftertaste that I'm not super fond of. It's definitely not my favorite thing I've had. It's also cold vegan meat in a can though, so it might not be entirely fair to judge this until I've cooked it up and heated it up, and then I'll give you my opinion again. Meatballs. I'm gonna taste a little bit of this sauce first that's on the fork. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a little bit sweet, but it's not too sweet. And it has, you can tell, a good amount of herbs in it. So let us try a cold meatball from a can. Because we just don't learn our lessons, do we? Yeah, that's got a nice chew to it. And it's got a spring to it. And it's got a good flavor. The texture's nice, the flavor's nice. It's not overly flavorful, but the flavor that is there is nice. And when paired with the sauce, you really don't need more flavor. So even cold from a can, I would not mind eating this one. Now let's do something with these things. Let's have fun, let's create. Let's find new ways to enjoy our meats in a can. When I heard beef in a can, the only thing I really wanted to make would be a hash. So we're going to make a beef hash with our beef in a can. For our UnMeat beef hash, we're going to need potato, bell pepper, a ripe jalapeno for some heat, and I would love to put some onions in here, but I'm out, which is a bummer, but we will add a little bit of garlic. So let's get all of this chopped. Of course, you can peel your potato if you want to, but there are very few instances where I would rather peel a potato than just eat some potato skin. Prepped. Let's start the cooking. I'm actually going to boil my potatoes before I add them to the hash. So we're heating some water. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, a little bit of baking soda. Not much, just just a little bit. And what that does is it sort of breaks down the surface of your potato a little bit, and then when you fry it, it's extra crispy and delicious. Now we'll add our potatoes and bring this to a boil and cook until they are fork tender, which, in case you were unaware, means that you can easily pierce them with a fork without too much resistance. Start with a generous pad of vegan butter. And then we're essentially just gonna add everything. Peppers, garlic, and jalapeno. Boiled potatoes. And our beef in a can. Some pepper. Oregano. Justice. And salt. Now we'll just cook, stirring occasionally so things get nice and crispy. Now, of course, with meatballs, you could make some pasta, put it over the pasta. You could make a meatball sub, put it on your meatball sub. But I wanted to do something like a little bit different. So I think I'm gonna make some meatball dumplings, something like that. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna pick out all the meatballs and just tap off the sauce. It doesn't need to be perfectly clean, but we want to keep most of the sauce in the original bowl. Like you get kind of a lot of meatballs in there, don't you? We've separated the balls and the sauce. And I rinsed off the balls. Set the sauce aside. We'll use it later. We're going to concentrate on our meatballs now. I've got some dumpling wrappers. Let's hope this works. They are defrosted. We're gonna add a sprinkling of vegan cheese, one of our meatballs, and then we're just gonna use a little bit of water around the outside of the wrapper. That will act as the glue to keep everything shut. We're gonna fold them very simply just by taking the two opposite corners and meeting them up at the top. And then taking the other two opposite corners and folding them in so they make like a little square. Then you just press along the outsides and voila. We have a cute little dumpling. Now, those are adorable, but it is a pretty tight dumpling. I'm going to hedge my bets a little bit by cutting a few of these in half and doing half meatballs in some of them, just in case those ones with whole meatballs are a little bit too full to properly seal. That one was definitely a lot easier to close. I think I'm gonna do most of them as half meatballs because I think it'll end up a little neater. We'll do both though, just to see. Now we just need to get these cooked. It's time to cook our little wontons. Now, you could bake them. That'll be great. You could air fry them. That'll be good too, but honestly, they're gonna be best if you fry them. So I'm just gonna fry them. We've also got all this sauce. I'm just gonna heat it up in the microwave and add a little bit of hot sauce to it. We've got our lacto-fermented cayenne hot sauce we made the other week. We're down to a couple inches of it. I'm just gonna add a little bit of that in and then heat it up, and it will be our dipping sauce for our meatball wontons. You're also going to want something to put your wontons on once they're cooked. Now you could use a plate with a paper towel, which will absorb the excess oil, but I prefer to do a baking tray with a cooling rack on top because then the excess oil just drips off. Oil's looking hot. It's time to taste our creations from a can. Let's just adjust this camera so I can stand up, huh? Starting off with our hash. Now, of course, I do wish this had onions in it, but it does not. So I debated rinsing off that sort of sauce that was on it, both because I worried it would make it not get crispy, and because I didn't love how it tasted, but I'm glad I didn't because it actually did get quite crispy. It stuck to the bottom of the pan a little bit and then scraped off, and it's quite delicious. And just with the application of a little heat and cooking, it's really transformed the flavor of the sauce. It still kind of tastes the same, just like way better and not like metallic. I really like this. Honestly, I'm glad that I tried doing something with this because right out of the can, I would not recommend this product, but with a little bit of heat, a little bit of love, some added vegetables and freshness, this really comes together. It's hearty, it's filling, it's very savory, it's dark and flavorful and umami, and it's great with the crispy potatoes and the sweetness from the peppers. Now for our crispy wontons. These are stunning. They look like baby little cream cheese wontons, but I know that inside is a meatball and some vegan cheese. Dip in the sauce. That's really delicious. The crunch of the wonton is perfect, but then you get to the meatball, which is like juicy and made even a little moister from the vegan cheese. And although it has like sort of Italian flavors, it works really well in this more Asian format. And then we have the tomato sauce. I just added a little bit of hot sauce and I think that brings it up a little bit. I know not everybody likes a spicy tomato sauce, but if you do, it does really add another dimension to the sauce. I enjoy this quite a lot. Is it a little bit stupid? Yes, but I love that I was able to take a can of meatballs and tomato sauce and turn it into such a fun appetizer. You could serve this at a party and no one would guess that this came from a can. Meatballs and spaghetti sauce, I really enjoyed. I would eat these over pasta. If I was like camping or something, I would happily eat these out of the can, just heat it up a little bit. This is something I will definitely get again. I do appreciate how this roast beef ended up. And in the hash, it truly is good. But maybe I'm just not as much of a roast beef person as I thought I was. I can see other areas where it might be really good cooked up. I feel like you could make a really good sort of sandwich with this cooked through, add some sauerkraut maybe. I think that would be really good. The only thing I would say is I recommend cooking this. It is still pretty good, but I will say out of the two of these, the spaghetti and meatball is the winner for me. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me for trying more meat in a can. Do you know of other vegan meats in a can that I should be trying? What would you have done with your meatballs and spaghetti sauce or roast beef? Please let me know in the comments. I'm so excited to hear all about it. And thanks so much for being here. If you liked this video, if you could please give it a thumbs up, I would very much appreciate it. And if you want to make sure to see the next time we post, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. Thanks. Bye. Would you like to try this? Is that what you're telling the people? Come to mama. You can make this. Kiss. You think that's good? Douglas thinks it's good.